All right, there, our rebellious spirit friends. Today, Miss Kris Williams and I are going to be tackling another one of the common questions we get. And today's question is, has something ever followed you home? Very popular question on the convention circuit, the Q&As and things like that. And I always make the same joke. No spirits, just creepy fans. And everybody laughs and says, "Oh, Dustin, you're amazing. We love you so much." Well, maybe not that last part. But to get to the heart of the matter, it's an old question. It's an old idea, actually, the hitchhiking ghost. And I don't mean like the roadside hitchhiking ghost, like Resurrection Mary out in Chicago. And I mean, every state, I think, has some story of a roadside specter who hops in the car and takes a ride with you. But the idea of we go to a haunted location or we spend time at the cemetery and a spirit follows us home. And as I like to put out before I answer any of these questions, what I believe or what Miss Williams believes is our own personal belief. You don't have to agree. We don't have to agree with you. That's completely fine. We could still be friends. We don't all have to sing from the same hymnal. We don't have to like the same type of ice cream. It's okay to have ideas that are unique to you and that maybe you like, maybe you don't. It's okay for your ideas to change. Now, the idea of a spirit following you home, again, an old idea and one that was held very closely by a lot of early investigators to be true. As for me, I don't think so, my friends. I think that we misinterpret it. Now, I know some of you are already angry with me, right? Because I didn't agree with you. But that's okay. It's good to learn different people's perspectives and to share your own. You got the comments below. Just don't be hateful or angry. Just you can tell us your story too. But here's my idea about it, okay? I take a flight from Providence, Rhode Island. I go down to Galveston, Texas. And I investigate some old house down there. And we have a wonderful time with a small group of investigators. We had limited but some interesting spirit activity. And the end of the night comes and I pack up my gear bag. I say goodnight to everybody, and I go back to my hotel. Now, unbeknownst to me, did a spirit that liked my gadgetry or my hairstyle or my je ne sais quoi follow me back to my hotel room from the haunted location in Galveston and then just kind of hang out sitting at the end of my bed while I slumbered and then waited for me to wake up, watch me take a shower, pack my unmentionables, and then drive the rental car back to the rental car place as it sat shotgun next to me, seat belted in, and then we went there and dropped off the car, and then we went to the airport together. We stopped, went through TSA security, had an unneeded pat down, decided we should get a donut to reward ourselves after said pat down, sat through 1, 2, 3 flight delays, my specter friend and I, and then finally boarded the first plane. There were only middle seats, so he had to sit somewhere else. But then when we deboarded, we caught back up to each other, and then we had a layover in O'Hare. We went over to C-17, to the food court, and we got a grilled cheese at the Billy Goat Tavern, and the spirit sat and watched me eat and waited for me. And then we went and sat through 1, 2 flight delays, finally flew back to Providence, Rhode Island, where my father picked us both up. And then we went to my parents' house to get my truck, and then the spirit hopped into my truck, and I drove home, where now he hangs out. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. No, they do not follow you home. This is my belief again, but that's my answer is no. They're not omniscient spirits. They don't understand or know everything. Once you pass away, yeah, you know stuff about your own life and this and that, but you don't know everything about everybody else. Like, that's a God level thing. So the spirit seeing me at this place in Galveston isn't going to be like, I like this dude. I'll just teleport back to his house because I know where he lives. It would have to hang out with me the whole damn time, and it sounds like the waste of an afterlife. What I do think happens, and this is the important part, what I do think happens is, as spiritual beings going through a human existence, we often have this little light. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. We have the spiritual light inside of us, right? Our aura, our chakras are open, our energy is out. And when we investigate, we are shining that light out, trying to talk to spirit, trying to attract spirits. We're spirits in a human experience. We are spirits in here. We don't need all the gadgetry, all the ghost box stuff to connect to the other side, but we've become reliant upon it because it's easy, right? And it's fun, and that's okay. But what you need to understand is, spiritually, you're shining that light out, saying, hey, I'm here trying to talk to spirits, and spirits hopefully respond to you. Or you just have a quiet night. Hopefully you still had a good time. But you go back home 2 flights later, and that shining light is still there. You're not actively looking for spirit at this time, but your spiritual side is activated and shining bright. And I think often what happens is that the spirits that are familiar to us, the spirits that are around our home, transient spirits maybe just passing through, see that light and see the opportunity to interact. Like, oh, this one's a little brighter than the many others. Maybe this is someone that I can interact with or talk to. And so, they do their thing, right? They knock something off the shelf or they try to make a sound or whatever it is. We think mentally because, I just did this investigation case and they said there's a spooky spirit there, that it followed me home, because that's what was written in books like 80 years ago. Think for yourself, my friends. It's not my thing. Maybe it's your thing. Maybe you have a story of something very local and something did happen. But for me, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that as being a plausible thing just because of all the things that I mentioned. And I really feel like the more real explanation for that is that what I said, we're shining that bright light. We've been looking for spirit activity shows up, but in our human mind, we're thinking, this has to be because I did this other thing. Maybe not so. Anyway, that's what the comments are for. Please discuss. Please be nice. Tell us your story if you want to. And if you believe you brought something home and maybe now you're thinking maybe it was something different, that's okay too. It's okay to change your ideas. It's okay to have ideas. Just be nice to each other. I shared my ideas and now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I toss it over to my good friend, television's own Miss Kris Williams. Miss Kris Williams, tell us what you think about spirits following you home. Has anyone ever followed you home, Kris?
You always give me such an exciting intro and I don't do shit for you. I'm gonna have to work on this. I really liked your spiritual light idea. Like, we all give off this light and we're kind of a beacon to other things around us. I never really thought of it that way. And honestly, I like that idea a lot better than the idea of like a ghost stalker, like you were just explaining. I never really understood that either. It's like, how exactly do I bring something home with me? And I'm not making fun of it. It's just, it never made sense in the same way that you explained. I don't know, a little weird. I don't have a personal theory or belief on whether or not a spirit can follow you home. I haven't been at it as long as Dustin or some of our other friends who are investigators. But as to whether or not I've ever brought anything home, I don't believe so. When I was on the shows full time, we were never home. To the point that when I was gonna get an apartment, my dad told me it'd be kind of crazy to do because I'd just be throwing my money into a black hole of sorts. Him and my mom convinced me to stay with them while I was on the road with the shows. There were occasions where my parents said there was weird shit going on in the house and they liked to blame me for it, but I still insist there was weird shit going on in that house long before I got involved in ghost hunting, so I don't think it was my fault. Of all the things that I worry about on an investigation, I would say something following me home wouldn't even make the list, personally. I've never worried about it. I never really saw it as a possibility or a concern. I know a lot of people are worried about it because they do ask us about it a lot, and usually there's a lot of people who like to investigate, but the idea of something coming home with them turns them off to even going, which is unfortunate. Not sure if that helped you guys out or not. That's the best I can give you based on my own personal experience. If you have a story where you believe something followed you home from a location, please share it below in the comments. Just be ready for conversation, be ready for questions. And those of you asking the questions, please keep it respectful, like Dustin said. We're not gonna get anywhere if we can't have open conversation and friendly debate. That's all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to bringing you a new video here next week.